The number one thing that we see so many times in life is how do we navigate relationships and what does the wealth of relationships really do for us in life and in business? So, you want to make sure you're locked in today because we're talking about navigating people to win in life and business. You all know me. I am the entrepreneur's attorney and business strategist where I help you start, structure, and grow your business while legally protecting it through trademarks, copyrights, and contracts. And today is I Am and More Day, right? And we're journeying to more. It's the only place for entrepreneurial minds for us to be whole entrepreneurs, right? We're going to be rich and we gonna know what to do. Like we gonna
Let's go.
we gonna be happy, right? We gonna like our kids will experience things that we will never experience because we not only had money, we were whole. And so today we have Coach Maya here, and I would try and explain who she is, but I want her to introduce her to you because she just makes that much of an impact in whatever room she walks into.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I am Coach Maya, and my husband and I, my husband's name is Ed, and together we are One Vision events and relationship coaching. So the events part, we like to plan events for couples and relate. We are premier transformational relationship coaches. And so that's what I do. But if you really want to know who I am, that definitely starts with wife and mommy because that's where my heart is. That's where my priority is. I have two toddlers, 4 and 2, and I also have two bonus children that I got as wedding presents, and they are 23 and 18. So we have a large gap there. And really, when we were navigating through how to balance all of this is a lot on our plates, and I don't want to be everything that I've seen around me.
Mm.
So, how do we figure that out? And as we learn, we just want to empower other people that also want to be on the journey to not just, you're not sinking, you don't want to survive, you want to thrive. And so, if you want a thriving relationship, that is blissfully happy, then that's what we want to be able to offer to other people.
That is so amazing. And I like how you just talked about, you seen something and you said, like, I don't want to be that. Right. And so you all had some moving parts that you had to navigate in life. And the other part that she didn't really talk about with you all, like she has the business, she's a wife, she's a mother, but she also works a 9 to 5, her and her husband both. And so they've really had to navigate a lot in order to one, love each other, and then two, love their children. And so when you talk about building the structure to actually have a profitable and successful business, because your events sell out.
Yes, praise God.
Right? Like we're not talking about somebody having an event and a few people showing up. No, she sells them out. How have you navigated that piece in your home? Because I hear all the time, like your first ministry is in your home. And so, how do you get that right and then allow that to spew out to everything else that you do?
For one, I would say completely slay that procrastination demon.
Mm,
I mean, you got to take him out because if you wait to the last minute to do anything, then stress is involved. And when you're stressed, then that's going to spill over to the people that you love. For example, I'll just give this example because it happened to me last night. So we have a marriage retreat that is taking place 2 weeks from Friday. So March 8th through 10th on Jekyll Island. Our couples will be meeting us there, and they're going to be right on the beach. And I was preparing their gift boxes because you're not going to come to a One Vision event and not have your date night ready and packaged. You're going to have it together. I don't want you to have to bring your little stuff that you might get caught trying to sneak out. So I got you when you get there. So I'm putting it together and I'm working on it. And my baby, my 2-year old, he is really clingy and he just kept coming in. And so if I hadn't started early enough, then I wouldn't be able to take the breaks to just hold him. And it would
mm,
frustrate me that he kept coming in. because I
Mhm.
feel like I'm under this deadline. It's like, oh, the retreat is this weekend. I have to get this done. No, I started early enough so that when he needs me, I can take a break and actually give the energy to the priority that I've set.
This is good. So we have to slay the demon of procrastination to be able to balance it all so that we can decrease stress in our lives. I don't think that we or people readily process that in
Hmm.
that way. Like they think putting something off doesn't harm them, right? But you've given us a true example of like, no, you putting that off is going to cause you harm in life, and here are the ways. And so I think that is really good. And something that people could lean into is just figuring out, okay, how do I start planning? So, like, you are managing all of these roles, all of these people, because I know a lot of educators, because I'm a former educator. And it is hard to go to work and take care of somebody else's kids and come home and love your kids
It
and
is.
manage your household. So, how do you even balance that piece?
I build in time between I'm getting off from work and picking up my children. So
Mhm.
that's something that I had to make peace with within myself. So I get off work officially at 3:30 and I
Mhm.
work 30 minutes away in a neighboring county. And so instead of me getting off at 3:30, hopping in the car, rushing to get the kids so that I can get them early, they can stay there until 5.
Mhm.
And I had guilt in the beginning, like they've been there all day. But what I had to realize is if I don't give myself that time in between to either get some stuff done with the business or go work out or do something that I need to do to decompress from raising other people's kids all day, then when I get them, is it beneficial for me to pick them up an hour earlier if I'm frustrated when I get them? Or would it make more sense to let them eat snacks over there and play games with the kids that are there? And then when I get them, I'm rejuvenated and I have time and energy for them. So just knowing yourself for one and taking the mom guilt away and focusing on, okay, I have to be my best self to offer my best self to the people that I love.
Mhm.
What does that look like? Because I don't think a lot of people know. You don't spend enough time with yourself to know what it is you need. And so I know that I need a block of time in between working and teaching kids and picking up my kids to start my second job, to cook and to make sure they have what they need, and bath time and laying out clothes. Like I need a block. And you have to get rid of the guilt of actually taking the time to do the things that you need to be whole.
Listen, I don't know if people caught that key that you just gave around really when you want to navigate people and win in life and business, the first person you have to navigate well is you. And I feel like this is just a recurring theme of how we go outward, meaning we go with other people and do things outward when it comes to trying to improve our life. But the best thing that we could do is go inward when it's time to improve our life, when it's time to figure out all of the systems and things in place for us to really flourish and thrive and not survive. And what you just said works in the relation of, parenting, but it also works in the relation of just living in life because maybe Ed, he probably needs an hour to decompress before he goes into his second move too. Maybe the solo entrepreneur needs an hour before it to just disconnect and do nothing before they go into their evening. And so, thank you for helping us see the value and giving us permission to stop and take care of ourselves and really lean into what we need, what we want. Because you said it is when we are our best selves that we can give our best selves to the people in our home and the people that we are called to serve. And so you have systematized and figure out how to run your home. Then you add on the piece of running a business. How did you transition to adding that additional piece into your life?
That is a very good question. It was happening already. It
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't my business. I was finding that at the school where I was, as I was actually thinking about it, I would get calls, and on my planning period, some of my friends or people that I know would call and say, I'm going through this, or I'm texting, what should I say back? How do I navigate through this in my relationship? Our communication has shut down. We're not having sex. And so I found myself spending a lot of my what I had free time actually coaching people. I just didn't know that that was a thing. I was like, that's the whole thing. Like, it's not just full life coaching. Like, I can really make a business coaching people through relationship, what I've done my entire life. Like, I remember back when I was like 8 years old, and my sister is 10 years older. So she's senior in high school, and her boyfriend, they were having issues, and she was upset with him. And I remember sitting in the car with him, and he was like, what should I do? And I'm like, well, you need to start by, yeah, it's just like that's a real thing. And so it's natural, it feels good. And that's what, they always say, if you're gonna have a business or whatever your work is, it should be something that you love to do and that you would do for free. And I have been doing it for free for so long. And I was like, hey, let's see what we can do and how many different people we can bless with this platform.
No, that's really good. So there was just a natural flow for you.
Yes.
And so folks could kind of just even think through that. One of the things that I think that I encounter with some of my clients on the business side is they fight against that natural thing because they have an idea of what they want to do. And I'm like, you got to balance the thing that's going to be a revenue stream and allow that to then compound and build up the next thing that you want to do. And so you've even modeled that in your transition. And so when we think about just the power of relationships in our life, and how to navigate people well, what are like the 3 to 4 foundational things that you think you need? I'm gonna start with the relationship in the home, because we have to get these homes right, or we're not going to get anything else right.
So in the home, since I do have a husband and he's the head of our household, I will say being completely open and transparent about what it is that you need in the most respectful way possible. And this is why I say that. As a woman, as a wife and mom, there are so many responsibilities that are on my plate. And for me to do these things well, I need to communicate with the people around me, my team of people. This is what I need from you for me to do these things well. If you want me to lay it low and spread it wide at night, if you want the good stuff and you don't want that sleepy sex, then I don't need to be super sleepy when it's time. And
Mm-hmm.
for me not to be super sleepy, then I need you to take A, B, and C off my plate today.
Mm.
And I need these things. So I coach a lot of women through that because they run into I would like a knight in shining armor that already knows exactly what it is I want and need. And if I have to tell him or ask him for it, then I don't even want it anymore. And it's like, sis, no, think about the end result, what it is you want and need. If you have a man who is more than willing to help you with those things, if you will communicate, then you have to fight through that barrier. And so I think just being vocal about your needs, starting with knowing and understanding what you need. Because sometimes our frustrations are that we're overworked, we're tired, we don't feel appreciated, but we really don't know why or what it is that would help. Well, how can I help? I don't know. So taking a breath and just figuring out, if I had help with these things, then I could do A, B, and C so much better. Even if it's not help from a husband or help from a child, maybe you have enough extra money to pay somebody to come in and help with some of the things that you have. It's just really communicating your needs. I tell my kids this all the time that I teach. Advocate for yourself. If I'm teaching and there's something that you don't understand, please raise your hand and tell me. Same thing at home. If things are not going well and I can't operate optimally, but
Mm-hmm.
there's something you can do to help with that. I can't just neglect that conversation.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And if we think about what you're talking about, oh my gosh, it's like the communication with yourself, being clear with yourself, and then being able to communicate that out. And so you have a husband in a home, so you communicate with the husband. But then this also applies with, like, you probably have to communicate your needs to your kids, and set the boundaries and non-negotiables there, because all of this works in tandem for you to be able to go to work and then run a successful and profitable business. So how do you then, all right, we move there. Now let's move to the kids. Like, what are you doing there?
So with them being 2 and 4, then the world just completely revolves around them, and so you just have to be real with them in kid friendly terms. Do you like having clothes and shoes to wear? Where do you think those things came from? Mommy had to go to work. So, if you will, mommy's going to work for 30 minutes. This is the clock right here. When the clock gets to this, I'm going to be done. But during this 30 minutes, I need you to sit right here and watch this movie. Can you do that? Because if you come in, I might not be able to get you some clothes and some shoes. Would you like to eat tonight? If you would, I need to cook. While I'm cooking, how about you write your name on here and you color these pictures while I'm cooking? Because if you don't, I have to stop cooking. We won't have any food. So it's like putting the responsibility back on them. Now they have the responsibility of leaving me alone so that I can get what I need to get done. And so they're like, well, if I'm not gonna get to eat, so I got greedy kind of kids. So they're like, if this is affecting my clothes, shoes, and food, then I might need to handle these things on my own that they would, normally kind of pester me for.
Listen, that is so strong, and it's probably applicable in so many different ways. Look, my teacher had us coming back on. You gave them clear what to do directions for a specific time period to allow you to then operate and do something that will serve them, and then just getting them in the mindset of being able to respect boundaries. And had that level of responsibility. Like, y'all, she's teaching a 2 and a 4-year-old responsibility. Like, don't let that run past you. So she's able to do that because she's spending enough time with herself. She's clear on herself. And then she's clear on her non negotiables and boundaries with her husband and her kids. And so that allows her to then do business. And so now you have your home together. How do you start to even operate and navigate the fact that you coach people through hard times in their life and not like take that on?
So it helps. If the people that follow our podcast, they know that empathy is something that I struggle with. I have had to learn through my relationship with him actually to be more empathetic, and it has to be like it's a choice. So when I'm coaching clients, I don't get emotionally involved. I can take a step back and actually look at the facts that are presented and navigate through some of these struggles and say, hey, have you thought about trying this? Have you thought about trying this? I don't feel what they feel. And it helps me in this space. And it sounds really, really cold, but it's really helpful in the coaching space. And when you're teaching,
No,
not to take it home.
no, that's really good, because so many times people are bringing whatever that baggage is home or bringing it into their lives. And when you do certain types of jobs, you just have to disconnect from it. Like, it's no different from someone who works for child protective services and things of
Mm-hmm.
that nature. And what I'm like really hearing is the level of relational intelligence that you have to win in life and business. And you've developed strategies and I think about our coach, right, Dr. Darius Daniels, one of our coaches, because me and him
Right.
got quite a few now. And so, how he talked about relational intelligence and categorizing people in the right places and spaces. And so for me, I'm like, okay, well, she's categorized her husband with this level of love and their children and work and this. And so once you know yourself well, then you're able to put people in the right categories to serve your life,
Hmm.
and not you end up being at a place where it's wearing you down. But Maya, we know you are here now. Were you always here?
Nope. And
Talk
I
to
was
us about
I was just about to tell you that. So I've been teaching for 18 years, and that was the first job I had coming out of college. And that's really where I learned this. That's where, if you watch other teachers, they come in the building early, they leave with these humongous bags and sometimes carts of papers to grade, and some of them are up to 11 and 12 at night, and yelling at their husbands and kids because they're tired. And I just had to make a decision then. You know, I'm really having a hard time not not being able to save all these children that I'm working with. I want to take them all home. I want to, I was teaching middle school at the time. I'm a high school teacher now. But, some of the girls would come in and their hair wouldn't be done. So I would take them to my house and I would do their hair. And it was a lot. And then it started to come back because it's like, well, you didn't do my hair and you didn't do mine. And you got all these papers. And I said, what I'm learning is I need to use a spirit of discernment
mm,
and not take on every assignment, because every kid that needs to be saved, like, God has a person for them. And
mm,
you just might not be the person for every kid. You don't have the capacity to give that. So
mm,
you really need to pray about who to help and when.
mm,
And when you get off, you're off. If
mm,
you have to stay at the school till, I didn't have any children then, but if you have to stay at the school till 4 or 5 to grade papers or do whatever, do that. But when you walk out of the door, you don't take a bag with you. And a teacher that had been teaching longer actually put me on that game. She said, "Baby, you will ruin your life and your family and everything if you take this job home with you. So do what you got to do at the school. When you leave, you don't need to leave with anything but your keys and purse." And I said, hmm. And to this day, I don't do it. I don't grade at home. If I tell them it's going to take me 2 more days to grade it, it's just going to take 2 more days. You didn't care about turning in 3 days late, so you
mm.
can give me some time. So yeah, just being really prayerful about who to go above and beyond with. And that's not just kids that I teach, those are adults that I come in contact with. Just so that, just understanding that everybody is not your assignment.
No, that's really good. And I think like one of the things that we could lean into, even if you're not a teacher, is just the fact that you have to be very intentional around disconnecting,
Hmm.
right? Because if you work from home all day, you got to figure out a way to like leave that work over there and then go into your normal life and the things that are going to build you and serve you and allow you to love God, love yourself, and love others, which is the highest commandment of them all. And I think we get it mixed up sometimes because we kind of love God and then we go out here over loving people and then at the detriment of ourselves. So
Right.
we're out of alignment, we're out of harmony, and we're wondering why it's showing up in our lives like this. But it's because you haven't really done the work to put in the system of the right way of love. And I love that, you talked about that teacher. I don't know what it was. I just knew that I couldn't live like that. If anything that
Right.
was just like, I can't live like that, they'd be like, Jamila, we up here working till 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, what are y'all doing? I'm studying for the LSAT so I can get into law school. I done done my work. Like
Baby.
don't come in my room talking to me either because I gotta do X, Y, and Z, and I taught writing. So those 5 essays will come through real quick, and building out that system will really help you. And so if you're navigating and you want to win in life and in business with people, you have to have a personal system in place.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm really hearing and taking away from you. And being able to confront yourself and the people that are involved in that system when that system is not working.
Also, I think it's important to hold yourself accountable
Mhm.
for the time that you say you're going to invest in something. Like when I said, okay, give me these 30 minutes and then I'll come play with you. If I'm not done or if I'm not where I thought I would be, my baby still just waited 30 minutes. And that trust is important. If I
Mhm.
tell them 30 minutes, I need them to be able to believe that 30 minutes is 30 minutes and not an hour. So having the strength, even when you really want to keep working, to shut it down after 30 minutes and say it can wait. Because as much as we feel like all these things, that it can't wait, it can, especially with these jobs. Some of the times that we work for people, and I hope that you all have wonderful people that you work for. But if you work yourself to death, then you get replaced. You have a service, a funeral, and then they come in and replace you, and it keeps moving. And I think about my coworker. I had a coworker, and he talks about being stressed, and the principal that we had at the time would ride him so hard, and he was just such a good guy. And he would talk about having chest pains and just from anxiety and stress coming to work. And he like dropped dead on a Sunday, and I couldn't help but think about how his life could have been different had he just made a different decision. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to give into the pressure that the person in authority is putting on me. It wasn't really worth that. So we were all, super sad. We had his funeral and he was replaced, and life goes on. So if life went on after him, it'll go on if you have to take a step back and take a break and see about yourself. So I just think, holding yourself accountable to the timelines that you set for yourself and protecting your peace. Sometimes at work, you'll see Ed notices it because we work at the same school, and some of the people I co-teach with, they know if I write right here, I'll put PMP. It's just a reminder to protect my peace because the
Mhm.
people are trying me today, and it's not worth it for me to go back and forth with you. It's not worth it at all. At all costs, I'm gonna protect my peace. Whatever that looks like, it doesn't have to be okay with you. I'm gonna protect my peace.
No, that's really good, and it goes back to your point about prayer and discernment
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing like when seasons are up at certain places and when you have to do the hard thing of like managing up and setting boundaries and being okay with the consequences. I have not been absolved in my career where I worked for people where I didn't have to like fight for my own peace.
Mm-hmm.
um whether it was at Cracker Barrel in college, whether it was the first year when I was an assistant principal and the man just didn't like me. And when you add in that prayer and that discernment and trusting the Lord in
Mm,
all your ways, and He will direct your paths. I
he
remember
will.
being so nervous sending in this complaint to HR about this man, but I knew I had to do it. And he did try and fire me. That complaint saved me. And a week later, he was gone. And so we have to really lean into our purpose, what God has told us about ourselves, the life that we are supposed to be experiencing, and sometimes be bold and courageous to take that extra step and fight for yourself in life so that you can win in life and business because it's not easy. Sometimes it is a fight. I can see it. Go on ahead with the spirit is moving. When has the fight happened, Maya?
I'm telling you, sometimes hmm, that peace that you're searching for is on the other side of faith. and it's not something that you can see. I had to walk away from a job with that same principal that, was over my friend. I had to walk away when I was pregnant with my first child. And you already know what teachers make. And so we are living on teacher incomes. And to take one income out of the house when we budget every penny was a faith move. But I prayed about it. And God said, for your peace, that is no longer a place for you. And so he is not always going to say, leave this and go to that. Sometimes you are required to take the step first, not knowing what's on the other side, but trusting in him. When he told Abraham, go to this land, I'm going to show you later on. Wait a minute. What you mean go? Hey, start packing your stuff and go. But I don't know where I'm going. You don't need to know. When it's time for you to know, you'll know. And so what he was building in me at that point was blind faith,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm the type of person where I need to have everything planned out. I like a plan, I like an itinerary. I need to know what I'm doing for this next year. And he said, well, when you live that way, then you don't have enough dependency on me. And you're making your own decisions, you living your own life, you are your own God. And so if you want me to lead you, then I'm not gonna be telling you everywhere we're going. Stop with the side seat driving. How about you sit in the back and let's go? And so that was very difficult for me. That was something that I had to navigate. I lost my mom, my very, very, very best friend, in 2018. And up until that point, like, she represented like a spiritual like leader for me. So I always felt like, well, I need to call my mama so she could pray, for me concerning this. Or can you find some scripture and talk to God about this for me and then tell me what he says? She was like my little personal connection.
Yeah.
And so what he had to work through with me there is, you don't need a buffer. I am, I am that I am, and your relationship with me is enough. I know you want to talk to her, but you need to talk to me.
Mm.
And I would just cry and cry, because here I am pregnant, here I'm unemployed. I don't know how to be a mom without a mom. I always envision, like, if I'm going to be a mother, she could just walk me right on through this because she was great at it. So having to be, face that without her, learning to depend on God in a different way, is what I learned through that season. And so he said that everything that we go through will be for our good. And so the pain and agony of grief experienced losing my mother actually worked out for my good, because I learned how to depend on God for myself. And I can go directly to him for the things that I need. And I know it was a crutch, and I never would have done it had she still been here. She lived right across the street. Look, this out this window, I could walk right across the street and would I would still be. And he knew that. He knew that
Mm.
all of us were in that space. And so she was here for the time that she was supposed to be here. And she taught us what we needed to know. And he was like, I got you from here.
I think you just dropped the bomb. And the fact that this is I am and more is centered off God being I am that I am, right? And you could
Mm-hmm.
never put him in a box. And at any given time, he could be more than what you imagined the last time. And if you are going to navigate people, if you're going to win in life, if you're going to win in business, the first relationship that you have to fix and that you have to get right is this relationship with the I am. And I don't think it's even a coincidence that I wore my superpower sweatshirt today, right? Like really leaning into that communion, right? And allowing him to teach you who you are and who you are not, and allowing him to guide you in all things and in all truth. And he tells us so many times, come to me, come to me, abide in me, delight in me, come to me, give me. right? But we don't take the initiative to take God at his word. I heard someone say this last week, and she said, we are too comfortable being disobedient to God.
Mm,
And so when he calls us to obedience, we want to argue with him, fight with him, and all the things with him because we would rather live in our state of comfort.
mhm.
And you're talking about how he called you off of your job pregnant. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. But I do know the story of him calling me off my job. And I can remember, I wish that I at that time had enough sense to write down when I would get these downloads and revelations. But I remember standing in the kitchen in December of 2023 saying, you are about to make me totally lean and depend upon you.
Mhm.
But that was always the natural state that we were supposed to have.
Right.
And
We
so,
get oh go ahead.
I'll go. I'll go.
We get so caught up in what we think we need and what we want that we are arrogant even in our prayer time. We say, okay, I'm going to set aside this hour to talk to God, but we have an agenda. I'm going to go talk to God so he can tell me what to do about this and where to go here. And God says sometimes to me, this is me from my personal experience. I'm like, God, I need you to answer these things for me. I need to know what to do about this, this, and this. And he said, what you really need to know is that all you need is me. Like, you don't need to know the answer to those questions. You need to know that I got it, no matter what it is. So you can come and commute with me and ask me these questions if you want, but be okay when I tell you none of your business right now.
Ooh.
In that particular time when he asked me to walk away from that job, I ended up having my daughter in August, and I was able to stay home with her for a little while. And then I took a job at the school where Ed was at the time, and I was only there for a couple of months. And 2020, COVID, so he allowed me to go back into the school system so that I could draw a check, and I was still able to be home with my kid for all this time while she's a baby and I'm breastfeeding and doing all these things. So had I and the district that I moved to was just, they were loving and understanding and not a whole lot of pressure during that time. And the district that I left was the opposite. So he knew that I didn't need the stress of the job that I left. And he knew that he had already prepared a table for me to go sit down. And it was none of my business. I didn't need to be worried about that job until it was time. He's like, I have created space for you to be home with your new baby. You said, you've been crying about having to be with mom without your mom, and you ain't gonna have time. I have created those things for you. You just have to trust me and move through. And it's just like, hindsight is 2020. When you look back, you say, "Man, that was such a beautiful plan, God." Like, you could have told me you were gonna do that. I would have been okay with it. He's like, no, you need to be okay with my plan because it's right.
Yeah.
It's best for you. Even
Yeah.
when it doesn't feel good, it's still right and it's still best.
Listen, you talking to me personally right now. And I'm not gonna lie, I've said to God, like, how many risks am I supposed to take in life? Like, how many of these do I gotta take? How many of these faith walks do I gotta live through? And the reality is, in my opinion, it goes with him preparing your heart. And especially for those of us that have big dreams, big goals, big visions, they require a certain level of heart posture, mindset, emotional set in order for you to be primed to give God the glory.
Mhm.
Because we are faith based, right? We serve the one true and living God, and serving Him means like, man, I'm not even doing this for me.
Mhm.
I'm doing this for, the plan that he has. And I heard someone say this earlier today. He was like, I was in a place where every choice mattered. And I said, I've been thinking, it's like, I can't take good advice in this season. I need God advice in this season. Because he said, my choices were going to determine whether or not we would be here today. And he's just getting started, maybe like 3, 4, 5 years in his ministry, 400,000 followers, people flying from all over the world to, be ministered by him and things of that nature. But if he didn't navigate that relationship right, didn't navigate listening to the right voices and spaces and yielding and humbling himself to the process, then the millions of people would not be impacted by what he is doing today.
Mm,
And so I just have, it's bigger than us.
it is. And I'm so glad that you're saying that because I'm experiencing that right now. I'll be completely transparent with our business. Like we're not out here killing it financially. Like that we are investing a lot of money. We are content creators. It costs us, money to create content and record at studio and put it out. Um, and I don't have space in my calendar to just take on lots of coaching clients. So my question to God, like when I ask him, like, so how much are we supposed to invest in this? Because I feel like we're bleeding money and I am proud. I feel like you're pleased with our content. I feel like it's blessing people. But like, what will my check though? Like, where is the money? And so it all boils down to why are you doing it? Because when you started, you said you were doing it as a part of kingdom building for me. So if you're doing it for kingdom building for me, my promise is that I will see about you. Are your bills paid? Are your kids, everybody taken care of? So you worried about some extra money. How about you just keep doing what I told you to do? And so I actually asked my husband specifically to pray about this yesterday. I said, just pray, please. Um, and like pray specifically about the road that we're on. Like, is this where we're supposed to be? Are we putting money in the right place? Is he wanting us to pivot another way? And his words today, he said, God said, continue to strike. Continue to do what I asked you to do. You heard me right the first time. So you don't worry about the results that you want. You just worry about doing what I told you to do so that I can bless the people that I'm choosing to bless with what you're doing. And that's a place where you just got to be like, just okay. Thank you for the clarity. But not necessarily the answer you want to hear. You want him to say, oh, yeah, you got millions coming to your house. Girl, I'm about to make it rain. That's what I want to hear. But what he said was, I'm pleased with what you're doing. And that really has to be the number one reward because that's what I said. When I started it, I said I was doing it for an audience of one for his glory. So if it's really for his glory, it can't be for his glory. And I'm going to quit because I ain't getting a dollar that I want.
And, when I'm like coaching business clients on this, one, I talk about how a lot of times they don't talk about the level and the amount of money it takes to invest in your business when you're starting up, and then how you will turn the profit. You will see it there, and then you will see it go right back out because of the next investment or the next thing. And I love your transparency because I had that too. I'm like, last year I was like, I mean, how much money? Oh, but then you invested in this, you invested in this, you invested in this, you invested in this. And but it allowed me to kind of get to that next level. And then the other piece is I learned early on not to look for numbers. And what he taught me was you need to be at the place in the space with the people that I need to be drawn to you in this moment for their glory, for their deliverance, for their breakthrough. I mean, for his glory, for their deliverance, for their breakthrough. And so if it's two people, it's the two people I designed for this moment. If it's four people, it's the four people I designed for this moment. And I don't ever want you to get caught up in numbers because that will come. You can't be diligent and sold out for my plan and my wishes and me not show up for you, right? But in the meantime, I'm testing your heart. In the meantime, I'm testing your character. In the meantime, I'm teaching you how to make the right choices.
Hmm. Mm, that's so good. Ollie, even now, like, because this is something that I've been praying about, like, God can give you, you can get 5 million in '07. So it's not really about what's coming in. Like, we actually did numbers for the marriage retreat, just final numbers last night. And I was like, okay, this is what we're making. But goodness, we got to turn around and reinvest this. I was like, I feel like we don't even see it. But that's not my business. Because my God, the one that I serve, can take care of me with 10. It could be $10 and he can make sure that we have everything that we need. Manna from heaven. He was like, I'll drop it out the sky for you, baby. Like, just keep doing what I'm telling you to do. Like, don't think that if you get your hands on $2 million that all your problems go away. Because that's not how it works. If you talk to anybody that's made a million, they'll tell you when you make a million, you need three. So you don't ever arrive. So just where you are in a place, he has created a space for us to dwell in peace, to dwell and have time to love on each other and be able to pay what we need to pay and bless other people. And he has given us some time and energy to put into our business so that we can bless people through that. And for that, I'm thankful. And I have to learn. And I say have to because I'm not there. And I need everybody listening to know that even with this full knowledge, I'm still not there. I'm still having to work through in my mind that it's okay for me to continue putting money here without getting a whole bunch back because I want a bunch of it. And it's like, he was like, for what? You don't need it. I do though. I just want it. So I'm working through. I'm working through.
That's good, and I appreciate your honesty. You know, I could keep you here all day, because that's just how I feel about you. um,
I'm having a good time.
but what do you have any final thoughts or comments on what it really means to like navigate people, navigate your relationship with God to win in life and business?
Ask God to give you supernatural vision
Mm,
when you meet the people that you come in contact with that need to stay in your life and
mm,
who needs to be dismissed.
mhm,
And when he shows you, be prepared to act. Be prepared to act. Don't even ask God that if you know you're not going to be obedient to what he tells you. If he tells you that some people in your circle need to be blocked and be blessed, be prepared for that. Because if you want to elevate spiritually, the people that you hang around really dictate your mood and what the things that you talk about. Like, he will place the people in your life that you need to get his will done.
mhm,
But we can hang on to people that are stumbling blocks for what he's called us to do. So relationally, just being prayerful about supernatural vision as far as the people, and respectful communication to the people that are there, understanding that everybody is not communicate the way you do.
mhm.
And my husband and I, he when he communicates, he gives 100 details. I only want to. And so having to actually listen to him process as he speaks, I have to be okay with that so that I can decipher, and understanding that when he hears from me, that he would like more than two words. So to dig deeper, just be conscious about who you're talking to so that they can receive what it is that you're saying, being mindful of your tone so that you don't let your attitude and your tone and your word choice be a block for what God is trying to do. Just be open, listen to him, and follow what he tells you to do.
Well, y'all, that was a gem. We heard it all. And for those of you all that want to win in business, make sure that you connect with me at I Am and More and visit my website because Not only do I make sure your business is set up and structured properly, listen, legal is your superpower in your business because what you protect now determines what you get later. And the more I can educate you all on understanding that and believing that and living that and investing in that, the better off you are going to be. And when you sign up for that newsletter, just make sure because I'm going to drop some gems in there to really help you understand why you need to have assets in your business that come through your mind. There are literally millions in your mind and they become birth through your business. And so if you don't manage those two right, you won't have nothing to manage. But
And
I'm
I appreciate you saying that so much. I will tell y'all, like, she did so much paperwork for me. You don't know what you don't know. So link up with people, partner with people that know things in the areas that you don't. She got me all the way together with my coaching business and my retreats and everything so that I could be legally protected. And I'm so thankful. Because who? I was just out here, could have been sued for any and everything. But you don't know what you don't know. And that's okay, but you need to partner with somebody that does. So thank you, girl, for knowing and for getting us together.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You all take care, be more, do more, and believe more as you journey to more. See you soon.
See ya.